Hello, welcome to Tarot for Our Times. This is Sarah, your medium on the go, and I haven't been on as frequently because the event season is going into full swing. So I just have a couple of announcements. This Friday, not this Friday, this Saturday on September 13th, I will be at the fall fair at the Dragonfly Soul and Art Center in Buffalo, New York. So for those of you in Western New York, that's in the Williamsville section on Main Street. So I might be putting some information in there if I know how to do it. Okay. And then on Friday night, I had done a mini tarot reading in front of the Christine Frichard Gallery in Lawrenceville, and I will be teaching workshops, doing readings, maybe one or two Thursdays a month. And my first evening of doing readings at the Frichard Gallery is on September 18th, and for the first two times I will be offering a discount on readings to encourage people to come. So it's a really good opportunity if you live in Pittsburgh and can get to the Garfield section on Penn Avenue, and I will be posting this on social media. Then you can just either walk or take a bus and get a reading and see some wonderful artwork too. So I have that, and I'm going to be an El Dia de los Muertos mediumship event at the Frichard Gallery on November 2nd, and there will be more details about that. So there's that and the private party, so I am starting to get busy. So I'm going to make an effort to be on here at least 3 or 4 times a week. So at any rate, getting to what I want to talk about today is that I've been kind of racking my brains because I know that as far as the pedodent's health and all that sort of thing, and the reception he's getting, I think I'm pretty much agreeing with all the other readers and a lot of the pundits on Midas Touch and the IHIP ladies. So I've been trying to find to get to zero in on some more particular details that I don't think that would be covered at any length. So I was watching Tabitha, she's another great source, on Friday, and she talked about something that was mentioned in the news that I can't watch everybody, I don't think has been delved into. And this brings me to the card of the day, is the Princess of Cups in reverse. Now, she's the Queen of Cups in this, but I think she looks pretty young, and I no longer have the deck with the princesses and princes in it, and I think I should replace that. But at any rate, the Princess of Cups in reverse is, cups deal with emotions and that sort of thing. So it really deals with someone, a young person that's been damaged psychologically. So, of course, Epstein's victims, or I guess I will call them survivors, were damaged at a young age, from their just below the age of consent to childhood. And cups represent emotions and feelings, and when they're in reverse, there can be a lot of trouble psychologically, and also or an indication oftentimes of substance abuse. So as I've said before, it's no accident that most of the people that have told me, or that I've heard of, the stories of them being trafficked and used by family members, and family members who pass them among other people, it's really disgusting, is that at AA meetings. So of course there's substance abuse. When someone that young has been abused in that manner, they're going to self-medicate, and you can't expect a young person like that to jump and go to therapy, especially when maybe their parents have been enabling this. So that gets me to the main thing. So on the on I had there Tabitha did a short, and then she did a little bit of a lengthier thing, and is another theme on a later, slightly later video. It was called "Voting for the Fox Guarding the Hen House." So my title is "An Epstein Survivor Voting for the Fox Guarding the Hen House." Now, there are many of these women who have not come forward yet, although that's going to change. Who I think that, with the one person that was on TV that said she had voted for Trump because she felt that he would be, he said he was going to go after the Epstein files and that he was going to be the big hero on the white horse. I find that very puzzling. Oh, because of, what he said on The View about dating his daughter if he weren't her father. Well, that speaks volumes. Things he said on the Howard Stern radio show about popping into Miss Teen Universe or whatever dressing rooms, all kinds of things. And he has been, civilly adjudicated for, we'll call it, sexual misbehavior to avoid lawsuits, and this is for entertainment purposes only. So, with a very young, impressionable mind, probably coming to certain conclusions that reasonable adults are coming to, I just find it absolutely gobsmacking as to why a young woman who's been through this, seen the photograph of those two together on Epstein's desk, like some others have testified to in an interview last week. It just absolutely puzzling. And the thing is that I've spoken before about white women, and mostly white women, who voted for him, and being in abusive relationships, because it's kind of like a Stockholm syndrome, and it validates them having an abusive partner, whether it's emotionally or physically or both. Well, it's um, and a number of my your friends in the therapeutic community have said that that makes sense. That, in a way, is understandable, but this is very puzzling to me. The Stockholm syndrome and a few other things, it doesn't quite all make sense, or maybe it's only a small part of the thing. So Tabitha was very much puzzled by this herself, and she rattled off all the, more than what I have just now, but she seemed to be rather puzzled. And someone in her comments said something about, not judging them, and I figured, yeah, we're talking about some very disturbed, damaged people. And in my the thumbnail, I did show the Princess of Cups with the cup up to her lips in reverse, with the MAGA hat kind of falling all askew and falling off. So without judging them, I just want to know why. So of course I'm going to turn to the tarot, and I absolutely have no preconceived notions about this. So I just want to see if the cards are going to tell me anything, or am I just going to be said, I don't know any more than I do. Hopefully that's not going to be it, but I'm going to do a general reading on this, and then if some other questions pop up, I might do just a few card spreads on those, just because this whole thing is very, now some people may say no, it shouldn't be puzzling, but it is incredibly puzzling. So I just want to see what's in this person's mind. So I have been shuffling the cards before we started, and I'm going to do the Gilded Tarot Royale, the standard deck and the before and after tarot. So, as I say, I have no idea whatsoever. What's no preconceived notions. So let's see what the cards say. Okay, I'm gonna put this down. Okay, so we're gonna do the before tarot. Oh, we have the Three of Wands. You have the Three of Wands upright, and it looks like this is interest. I believe this merchant figure is getting ready to send this bird off with a message to the boats out there. Okay, we'll see what this is about, and then the present energy being, oh, the sun, things coming to light. What this is starting to tell me is that as more is revealed, we may get some light on what would make some of these young women to vote for someone who very well, for entertainment purposes only, could have been a big part of it, this whole thing. So, okay, so let's see in the after tarot, what do we have? Oh, okay. Well, we have the Eight of Pentacles. They were all up in a row, but now they've fallen off because something didn't go right. So they're all falling off. So this is kind of the setup, I'm going to say, and hopefully as I put more cards down, this may start to make some sense. So the energy of this whole thing is the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. So the Queen of Pentacles is she's all about stability and being grounded in the material world. And I would also say that she's represents, since this is a current events thing, she also represents national security and stability. So in that light, I could say that this energy is that the older and wiser queen that was supposed to be grounded, and because she's also a mother figure, did not protect them. This could be Ghislaine Maxwell. No, I think no. It is not her. She was truly the predator. This is someone that should have protected them in the first place. A female figure for sure. Didn't. Maybe it was their mothers, because Queen of Pentacles in reverse, she can be a greedy old broad too. So it could have been mothers turning, oh, okay. Mothers turning their heads the other way because of the money that they were getting from Epstein, and possibly the money, the hush money. So that is getting a little clear. So it is the women that were supposed to protect them, that have become in league with Maxwell. Okay, so um, let me see. I gotta turn the noise of this thing off. It's driving me crazy. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's better. Okay, hopefully. Okay. So, unless the microphone's doing the job for me. Okay, so let's see. Gotta look at some underlying things. This is, yeah, that again, this is something like, oh, going back to the women in their lives, that they should have protected them. So let's see if it turns out that they're going to turn to the big loud male to do it. Oh, my enemy is my friend or something. I don't know. This is okay. Interesting. Okay, so this is the aftermath where he did not place those very well. Now it's all falling apart. Then we have this guy in reverse. It was the reversed, whoops, the reversed Eight of Pentacles, which is saying it wasn't done well to begin with. So no wonder this is all falling apart. I think the promises that were made were falling apart. Maybe the promise of the woman and well, let's see if in desperation oh, here we go. We've got the Death card here, beginnings and endings. Let's put another card down here. And we have looking for the knight in shining armor to come galloping in to save the day. Okay, so we have something that was the whole, that I would say that whole, since this is money, there's the whole money scheme, even with her pressure, that whole money scheme for paying them off was doomed from the start. But this is making it even more curious because that would have come from Epstein and Trump. So Trump is their hero. So, yeah, I would say that this may be the journey of ending that really sicko relationship with Epstein, but that still stays in their journey. Haven't reached those, I think, in the quest of going to the pillars of transformation. Again, they're looking for the knight in shining armor, and it doesn't, these two don't look real good in that journey. And this one is like the really quick and the rash one, so it's kind of like quickly looking for for a quick and easy solution, which does kind of make sense. So, okay, so let's see. In the conscious thoughts of the survivors voting for Trump is the Page of Swords. Boy, what this tells me, there were a lot of young people that voted for him. I don't know why we weren't like that when we were young, voting for fascists. But at any rate, I'm going to say that there could have been because some of these women are pretty young. They're like maybe in their 30s or something. So it could be like the younger husband or the boyfriend that gave them really, really bad information, telling them that, oh, well, he made a promise that he's going to release the files. He's going to save the day. This is a very complex thing. I'm kind of wondering, I have to keep going back to the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. I'm wondering if the parents got paid off and the girls, they didn't know about it. All they knew from their parents was, for our safety, you got to keep your mouth shut. Meanwhile, fattening up the bank account. That's incredibly interesting. So, on the conscious level, it was getting really bad advice, and probably, since this male energy was running their lives, why not have more male energy running their lives? And so this is telling me this is not a really informed decision. So, okay, subconscious is the Four of Swords in reverse. Now, upright, he's taking a little break to reflect. But in this one, this is about the sickness and feeling. This is another one of those minor arcana death cards. Interesting that we have the major arcana. So subconsciously, this guy took their youth and their self-esteem and really made them the living dead. That's the whole thing. So that is kind of where they're vulnerable to getting some very bad advice. Now, that's something I honestly had not thought of. Okay, so In the past, with all of this, we have this is the before the Four of Rods. This is the the arrival of, interesting, we had this before too, rods. This is the arrival of the wedding party. So I would say that it's, to me, it's about getting prepared to get their lives back on track, and maybe having a deal struck up, being very vulnerable, that maybe the male partners in their lives have, and I don't know whether they knew about they probably, maybe some did, some didn't, but saying, you've kind of got to get into this MAGA world, because he said he was going to release them, which means he's going to save you. So in order for us to form this partnership, you may want to vote for him. So, in fact, wow, you know what? I never noticed this before. Look at those towers. They have that Spanish architecture, that Mediterranean architecture that, since Spain was the, that was the country, and it fits in with the semi-tropical thing of those red tile roofs. It looks like Mar-a-Lago. Ooh, I'm wondering, okay. And they have weddings and events there too. So, oh, what this is making me, that's why Libby was the one that really got me into looking at the background to get the story of these cards. So there could have been some wining and dining with some of these people connected. And maybe he didn't even, maybe Kanks didn't even have to be there to risk traumatizing them. So maybe there was some stuff going on at Mar-a-Lago to, I think it was to maybe keep some people quiet, but possibly to give the impression that he was their big hero, and whatever they saw years ago, they can't, or experienced, they can't believe it. And it also goes to somewhat, because one of the things I learned from hearing stories at AA and other places is that a lot of them suppressed memories of this abuse to the subconscious. And then when they sobered up, the memories came back. So there might have been some of that going on. There's a whole lot of stuff. I mean, it taught Mar-a-Lago was sort of like, it was kind of like the springboard for some of the stuff to go over next door to Epstein's. But this is a big play of Mar-a-Lago and some manipulation, probably for people to keep quiet. And maybe with that would come along the pressure to vote for him. So, yeah, Mar-a-Lago. And then in the present, okay. The present is about getting ready to negotiate. So it's starting to look like some, which I hadn't occurred to me before, but maybe gaslighting and psychological pressure, that kind of thing, to get to convince. I don't think it's a whole lot, but I think, just hearing about that one, I'm saying there are others. I think it's far from the majority, but it's, I think whether it was from Mar-a-Lago, I think there were a few that did get, I think everyone got the pressure about keeping their mouths shut. But as far as going as far to voting for him, it's very likely that there was some pressure. And then again, we have the money thing. So this is starting to become pretty interesting. I think I'm going to zap a clarifier on. There are going to be a lot of clarifiers. Okay, so then we have this guy getting prepared and saying, well, you got to see what's right under your nose. It's obvious. He said he's going to release them, and so you've got to vote for him. I'm seeing some gaslighting in this instance, because we're talking about vulnerable people. And I'm telling you, I remember hearing stories from women in their 40s and even older who these memories go back years, and they go back like to their childhood into their early adolescence, which you're talking 30 years, sometimes 40 years, and the damage doesn't get undone by that. That's something they carry even with therapy. That's a long road back. So it's easy to that you're talking about some people that it's very easy to gaslight. So I'm sort of focusing on that one person, knowing there might be others that may come forward, but I just think that focusing on the one person right now, it would explain the others, and it makes it a little easier because this is quite a complex, very complex thing. So going a little further into the future, the King of Swords. To me, as far as I think they're going to be lawsuits, depositions, that sort of thing. And I believe that in this one woman who did that, she was very honest about it. So if she goes to court or Congress or anything, she's not going to lie about that. But also, I got a sense that she really had some buyer's remorse over that. So I'm definitely seeing gaslighting and coercion. But the thing is, you can be gaslit and still say, screw them. I'm going to vote for Harris. But I think that she was gaslit to, she just pulled the lever or whatever for Trump. Wowee. So, as we go further into the future with the after tarot, we find the Knight of Pentacles, like in reverse. So, after the fact, he's done his job. He's ready to let that pentacle go and manifest others. But his task is done for the day. So he's not carrying the burden. But in this one, I would say he's pretty much holding on to it and saying, the job isn't done. The task isn't done. I'm not getting off this horse. Feels like I can't go any further, but the job isn't done. So there will be more talk about that, and possibly what I'm seeing that could happen is saying that was one of the really bad effects of this, is that that it's possible that in the future, it's highly likely, and coming right next to the not King of Swords, that this woman could be completely honest and really regret this as more stuff. As I say, this is like Watergate. That genie is not going back in the bottle, and I would say she may want to tell a cautionary tale to other people that, that when 26 comes up, you do not want to have people supporting him. So further on into the future, we have, all these reverse. So what is this? The Ten of Swords in reverse. So it's very interesting because upright, this is about the, after he's gotten all of those swords in his back, it's like there are people coming to take the corpse away. The corpse away um, that's still holding one of the swords, which is kind of interesting. But in reverse, I would say that, and it could be like, it's almost sort of like kind of like the La Pieta, the resurrection of Christ kind of a thing, where they're going to, he's going to rise again or something like this. But no, this is talking about that that person is going to remain dead until she can really get a lot of help. So This isn't the whole thing like the Ten of Swords is that you have nowhere to go but up because you're at your lowest point. This is saying that, nope, not yet, not even voting for him has she gone, and realizing the big mistake has she hit her lowest point. So that's not quite ready to go yet because it's almost like, okay, the lessons learned. Now take him for some resurrection or whatever. But nope, not ready yet. So wow, this is quite a lot of damage. I have to say, as crazy as I think it was for her to vote for him, I have to give her having the guts to be able to admit that, or to really admit it. So which is in a way that like that kind of a confession, when you do that, it is in the light of saying I made a big mistake. Because if she didn't feel that way, I don't think she would have said it in the way that she did. And if you see, I think the beginning of Tabitha's the short thing, I think you do see her, and she's very honest about that, because she said, I thought he was going to bust this whole thing and save us, but it also goes to the point of we can only save ourselves. We can get help, but we can only save ourselves. So this is quite a big thing for the public. So what I want to see here is how she sees herself and how the rest of the world sees her, because I'm sure people have a lot of opinions. So how she sees herself is, it's a very emotional thing to do. And actually, and this was just a few days ago. So this was starting to get into the energy of the full moon in Pisces lunar eclipse, which is happening today. But that energy builds up. Just ask all of us who haven't had a decent night's sleep in the past 5 or 6 nights. So, it is in Pisces. It's very emotional. It's not, and as I read a little bit about, it's not necessarily healing, but it is in order to heal, it's kind of like you have to release and you have to let things go first. And that's really, I think, very simplified way what this eclipse is about. So as you can see with these lunar things, that this was an emotional thing, and maybe she sees it as the way of cleansing. Not quite healing yet, but on her way in the cleansing aspect. And with all of these are lower life forms, so this is the very beginning and primitive element of it, but could be very healthy. So, okay, so how others see her is the Hanged Man in reverse. And I think it's the fear that maybe some people are worried that she hasn't changed her point of view about him, and that there's maybe some anxiety that maybe she'll defend her voting for him. So I think this is a whole big national trauma, because we all know people, and a lot of people, so many have experienced this, that and in a way, this could be re-traumatizing people, but it could also be sending people to therapy to say, oh, I thought I got over this abuse, but apparently I haven't. So a lot of mixed feelings, and it may be not quite trusting her. So let's see what we got in the old hopes and okay, first we're going to do the hopes. The hopes that she will have learned her lesson, and in the next year's election, have seen seen the error of her ways and corrected by contributing to a blue state. I don't know where she's from, but for her to be, the hope is for her to become a winner and having learned a very, very big lesson. The fear is, aha, King of Wands in reverse. The ill-tempered, unfaithful king. So, I get a sense that she may be very fearful. And what this tells me is that if the stories are true for entertainment purposes only, and we knew this 10 years ago, the stories about the 13-year-old girl who's, not only bribed, but her family's threatened this and that. So people are fearing that there could be some threats if things are revealed. And she may be part of that, and that might have been part of her voting for him too. See, oh, this is becoming very clear. So, before we get to the conclusion, what this looks like is some coercion, some with a little bit of bribery, and I would say not, oh, we're doing this for you to vote for him. It's the whole package of keeping her mouth shut, but also the people around her gaslighting him and convincing herself, in spite of all the information out there, that he's the big knight. These knights, there are a lot of knights in the spread, that he is the knight that's going to save her. And even with the death card, which we refer to as the fifth knight, but we've got several knights in the spread. And even the guy in the Four of Swords, he looks like he's a knight also. So it's like the buying into the false knight thing. This sounds like total, I don't know, it really feels like keeping your mouth shut and then personal pressure and taking the next step. This is like very, very damaged. So we're going to go into the conclusion of this, which is the Star in reverse. A lot of times this represents the United States. So this is being in reverse. It's like we're not the star anymore. This whole thing is a big part of our national sickness. This whole thing of someone voting for someone that very well could have been a major part of this abuse. This is part of our national sickness. This is part of, we knew the first time around, we knew some really nasty stuff about us. All you have to do is go back to listen to some old Howard Stern shows and what he thinks of women and everything. And yet people voted for it. Not only did they vote in spite of this, but they voted for him because of this. So this could be part of a very, very deep subconscious, self-loathing of, voting for someone that's harmed you. This is what a lot of people don't understand. It's not only the United States. Look at Europe in the 1930s, and look at Hungary and Turkey and some of the others today, is that people need to feel that, I guess, if they join up with the oppressor, they won't be oppressed. So maybe that's a way of her thinking, well, this is a way to make it stop. And she had this, with this Page of Swords in reverse, I think she had some help in being convinced of that. So okay, so the energy around this is, oh boy, Ten of Pentacles, the corrupt, the crime family, the corruption in government, money, money, money. And we have some pentacles in this spread too. So this is the corrupt family. This is Mar-a-Lago. This is convincing these people that he is going to save you. And this is a ridiculous tale that Vance is saying, well, actually, he was an informant for the FBI. Come on. But vulnerable people may believe that kind of stuff. So there's a corruption of the money being given to these families. And we have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. So there's that. So they turn their head the other way so they don't protect, they just gaslight out of their greed. Oh boy. Okay, so let's get a couple here. Three of Wands here, which is I would say that whole international thing that's going on with this too. I think probably Russia and others have fed into this gaslighting of this whole it's a whole operation. So let's see. Let's stick a before tarot. So, oh, interesting. We have the Queen of Cups here in the before tarot. She's lifting that cup out of the water, which she's going to ponder and just focus on. This could actually be again going back to the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. Is with this Queen of Cups is that mother figure that will just be looking at the cup and nothing else, and trying to keep her own feelings in check. But here we got the money here, so this may be the beginning of telling herself some tales. So then we have, oh, Justice in reverse, which is saying that karma will come. We don't know when or how, but the universe may be waiting, and I think these young women are waiting. And the thing is that there is anger. Tabitha made a very good point, is that people like that voted for him have sabotaged their justice. Their justice. I don't. She said they may never, see the day. I think there if not the legal justice, there may be some karma justice, but it's going to, I will say, to be a little more optimistic, it's going to be seriously delayed. That's the whole thing. This is like 30 years, and for a lot of these people, that's a long time. But trust me, when the universe delivers, it's going to be epic. So, in the after tarot, then can't make this stuff up. So, we have before and the after. We have the Queen of Cups. So, it looks like she's done. She stared into it all day, and so she's just putting it back into the water. And this kind of follows with this and saying, it's time for me to let go of all of these feelings and see what the universe does. So, I don't think I need to do any more spreads. So what I believe is behind this one woman is probably a mother figure that did not protect her like the mothers didn't. There might have been others that didn't because of the money that was given. I think some of these people might have been wined and dined at Mar-a-Lago to keep their mouths shut. And then there's the well-meaning but stupid Page of Swords, very immature guy, convincing a vulnerable person that voting for him is the way to go because he said he's going to release the files and get to the bottom of this. So a vulnerable person that may be kind of a Republican in the first place wants to, it's kind of like grabbing on its straws for anyone that's going to save you. And this is quite an emotional thing. We may see other women. Hopefully, we don't see a majority of them, but we may see a number of them because of this woman coming forward, who may be coming forward and saying, yes, yes, I voted for him and I regret it. And there will be some truth and maybe some deeper reasons that I didn't quite get here, but it is I would say a lot of gaslighting because there were probably children. This was saying this covers everybody, whether they're way over to socialism or the MAGA fascism. That I would say that she could have been from a MAGA family, like some of the others could have, who could have said, and it goes back to that QAnon stuff, like that was their thing. Oh, we're going to save the children, from this. So then you feed in those conspiracy theories like he is the big savior. So I would say gaslighting, a little touch of Stockholm syndrome, and having a reality. Because I would say people that have been traumatized like that, and especially the ones that have suppressed the memories, that's a biggie. That what I see about them is that that the gaslighting, and I hate to say brainwashing, it's so Manchurian candidate, but maybe that isn't too far off either. That that someone could be convinced, if they live in that world, they could be convinced that he is the savior, even though they've seen that big 8 by 10 of him and Epstein. So it's a very complex issue. I'm hoping that I learned a couple of things from the cards today, but I would say this is likely what the cards are saying too is that we're just scratching the surface, because getting all the princess of, well, that's why the princess of cups came to mind, but these queens of cups and the ace of cups and all these things are saying this is a very complex emotional situation that we can't give any reason, but I think a few things did come up about this, and I believed I learned a thing or two, and I'm hoping you do too, and I'm hoping that you give your opinions in the comments. So with that, I'm going to sign off for now. Bye.